I was a very overweight teenager, and went up and down by 3 stone in my 20s and early 30s. So I've been fat, I've been thin, I've been everything in the middle. And when you're an overweight person, people are quite rude to you anyway. People used to be rude to me in the street, and it didn't make me want to go on a diet. It just made me feel worse about myself, and then I'd eat more. So I don't think that's shaming.
Do you think things may have changed now that there are more overweight people? I mean, the obesity crisis really sort of kicked in at the end of the 80s.
There is a slightly peculiar kind of, you know, being overweight is... I mean, we all want diversity of all kinds, whether that's physical or whatever, but I think it's more acceptable to be overweight now, so perhaps you don't get quite so much, but...
So you know, just seeing health workers overweight make it acceptable?
No, because also working as a... I hate to say hypnotherapist after this guy who's also a hypnotherapist, there are
and you
different...
both specialise in weight loss?
We do. I take a very different attitude. I see actually a lot of nurses and doctors, social workers, people in the caring professions that very commonly have weight problems, not partly because they work shifts, partly because of the availability and the
Shift
affordability...
work does say that it's not good for digestion,
and the affordability and the availability of healthy food, but also because they're often putting their own needs last. That if you're in a caring profession, your job is to look after other people, and then you often, if you're working with a lot of trauma around you, you use the food to try and manage the feelings you have as a result of working in that area.
Let's forget the badges. What about the posters? Now, when I was at school, we used to have anti-smoking posters.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't... I mean, there is a message there that perhaps should be conveyed, that your weight may be normalising other people's weight issues.
I think that there is a you know, messages like, you know, look after yourself, invest in yourself. You know, you'll feel better if you go for a daily walk. That's all fantastic. That makes you feel good on what you do. Not... you are fat and you're going to lose your job if you don't lose weight. I think that's unacceptable.
Dominic?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of invidious for me because as a skinny bloke, talk about fat people. I agree with what Larry had to say. I think the idea of shaming people is going to be counterproductive. You know?
Although there are all these super slimmers, we read about them all the time, that say, you know, it wasn't until my husband, my partner, my friend, my co-worker said that I
think it comes down to personal responsibility, and I think you'd have to be a pretty stupid person not to realise that it is the new cancer, the new smoking. You know, they say sitting's the new smoking. You know, I'm not comfortable with bullying people. I don't like bullying per se in life. You know, and I think I've got a friend who's morbidly obese, and I would hate the idea of me bullying him. I said to him one year, I want to see more of you next year and less of you. And that was my way of trying to encourage him, because he's not going to live if he doesn't do anything about it. But you've got to be very sensitive to people's feelings and why they are
But does that not extend to health workers looking after patients? That patients come into a hospital and if all they see are overweight people...
It is an anomaly, because I was in hospital for 2 weeks, not so long ago, and I was shocked by the very heavy nurses.
Can I just say, by the way, statistically, health workers are actually less fat than the general population. Right. I think it's 60% of the general population is fat compared to about 54% of health workers.
I suppose the upshot, though, is we are getting heavier and it is a crisis. I read once...
So, and this guy Miller is saying drastic action is needed.
And I think drastic action is needed. I think we can't mention fat, it's too sensitive, is not helpful either. Because we all want the same thing. We talked about...
So what would you do, then? If you're not going to do badges, if you're not going to do posters, if you're not going to... ultimately discipline people who don't lose weight...
You put subsidised healthy food into the canteens that staff can use. You sort out the problem of shift patterns, which is a financial issue.
But you know what they're doing, though, in offices with smokers now, though? I mean, they're making them work longer, add on... Not in all offices, but some councils are getting them to work longer to make up for the time that they're making... So they're essentially going after smokers. Is it time to go after the overweight?
No, because, I mean, I see people who work in offices. When you and I worked on Fleet Street, people had alcohol in their offices, and I was able to smoke in my office. Now, it's cakes everywhere, all the offices.
That's
it's
true.
endless
But I think,
cakes.
I think what you say, go after fat people, is true.
We've gone after smokers.
As an NHS, it's needed to happen. It's how you do it.
Right.
And
I also don't think that you can make a clear analogy between smoking and eating, because, you know, we need to eat to live. You can just quit smoking. You can't just quit eating. And also,
it's an addiction, though.
We start eating when we're born.
Yes.
We don't start smoking when we're born. And
but
it's so much deeper psychological connection between relationships and with food.
There isn't passive eating, is there? I mean, in the sense of I eat a donut, that doesn't directly affect you.
But this is the whole point. The psychologists say there is an effect, that if you're surrounded by people eating donuts, you will feel it's OK to eat a donut.
Yes, that fat contagion is true, but it's also the fact that you seek out people. You choose the people to support your own behaviour. So you're not passive in this. You have made the decision that I like hanging out with Jane because she and I go for a pizza together rather than with Joe, who prefers to go to the gym.
OK, would you accept, Dan, would you accept, Dan, that drastic action is needed. I mean, this
I think
is.
information is needed, first of all.
Right.
Lots of information. It needs to be out there and more obvious.
You don't think health workers, who are the very people who should be disseminating healthy information to patients, they must be aware, so maybe they need an extra kick, an extra incentive? I don't know, stick some
health
carrots?
workers in this country need support and help because they are under
Right,
so
well
much
said.
pressure. That's what they need more than
Yeah.
anything else. Help them, support them.
And if you're busy, I'll take all of Larry's points. You're working shifts, you're putting other people's care first, and your nearest purveyor of food is junk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we know what the problem is.
Yeah. There's many problems, isn't it? That's the NHS in a nutshell. Do feel free to comment and give us a thumbs up if you feel inclined. For more clips from the show and exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, click here. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button here to be automatically informed when new videos are available. Links to our other social media platforms can be found in the description. Thanks for watching.